So today, kind of like a few weeks back, isn't going to be extremely vloggy. I've had several people ask me over the last few months to do a video on some of the equipment I use when I make my vlogs and my videos. If you aren't interested in gear, like camera gear and stuff like that, again, kind of like the video a few weeks back when I mounted that, maybe a little bit of a boring video for you. Maybe go to my previous video or my next video if this is in the past or now or back. If you're watching it now, then it would be in the forward if you go. So if you're watching this in the past, you can go forward to the next, but if you're watching this presently when it's new, then you watch the previous.
Go back to then.
When?
Now.
Now?
Now.
I can't.
Why?
We missed it.
When?
Just now.
When will then be now? Soon.
Or something like that, I think. Yeah. If you do like cameras and camera gear and stuff like such, then hang in. The camera I probably reach for most often is my Canon 70D. I love this thing. It's been a workhorse for Canon for years in that kind of mid-range. It's got great autofocus. It's a good sturdy camera and it's never going to let you down. To my secondary backup camera, which is the Canon T6i. Same basic camera, some small differences. It doesn't have LED on the top. A little bit newer camera, the T6i, but also technically a step down from the 70D. On that note, the 70D is actually been replaced by the 80D that is now out. So if you're getting a new camera, I would suggest going for the 80D. It's slightly newer, has a slightly higher frame rate. It's got 60 frames a second at 1080p, where the 70D's only got 30 frames a second at 1080p. A little better autofocus, I think. Basically the same camera, but definitely a few upgrades and stuff in the 80D that the 70D doesn't have. Or get a T6i if you're not looking to spend a lot of money. They're a lot cheaper and they're still a real solid little camera. While we're talking about DSLRs, one thing to note is that the onboard microphones on them suck. My solution to that was to mount a Rode VideoMic Go on top. I picked that particular mic because it does not require an external battery and it's got really good sound quality. One of my favorite things about both of these cameras is the articulating screens. That if you're doing vlogging and stuff, not even vlogging, just normal stuff, it's really nice to be able to, without some kind of, you know, if you're filming yourself or filming anything, to be able to see what you're doing. Strangely enough, some of the high-end Canons, like the 5D Mark, whatever the hell it is, $5,000 Canon, doesn't have that. Please explain to me why a crazy expensive camera doesn't have a good feature like a flip-out LCD that the cheaper models have. It doesn't make any sense to me. I'm sure there's some explanation for it, but I still think there's nothing wrong with throwing a flip out. I mean, that's nice. It's nice and something nice to have. What I used to use a lot for a backup camera when I didn't want to take one of my big cameras was the Canon G7x. Solid metal body, has 60 frames a second, so you can get that good slow motion. Great picture. Tons of vloggers use it. It was a really popular vlogger camera for a while, the G7x. Really good little camera. Nice, small, compact, easy to carry. Same deal with the flip up screen so you can see yourself. Great little camera. And also, that's the one I made the video with, a little fur muff to cut down the wind, which, by the way, really works. It's good. Check that video out if you have some camera that you're having wind noise issues. The only reason I stopped carrying that camera was because of the new iPhone 7 Plus. The camera on this thing is so good. I don't know, I just find when I'm in a situation where I don't have one of my big cameras, I find myself reaching for this because it's always on me. It's in my pocket. And in good lighting, I would argue that this thing takes just as good as pictures as any camera. It struggles a little bit in low light. That's where the bigger, more expensive cameras really come into their own, kind of in a low light. But in a good lit situation, man, the camera on this thing's bang up. And I think it does up to like 120 frames a second in high definition. And how else are you gonna get some awesome aerial footage like this without having a drone? This is where the DJI Phantom 4 really earns its keep. Not going to go into too much detail about the DJI. There's been about 100 other videos out there where people really went into the details on them. I'm just going to say they are awesome drones. They take a great picture, and if you have the means to buy one, I would do so. And of course, you can't have a conversation about cameras unless you talk about GoPro. GoPro Hero 4, probably one of my favorite cameras, use it all the time. That's where I get most of my night lapse footage. Also, most of the drive lapse footage, or actually all of the drive lapse footage that I've gotten where it's on the car and it's at night and everything's zipping around, all that footage is always gotten on my GoPro Hero 4 Silver. I got the silver because of the LCD on the back. The black didn't have the LCD, you had to get a backpack. The new Hero 5 though, ballin'. I gotta get one of those soon. It is awesome. That thing is waterproof without the case, which is great. Love GoPro, but with that waterproof casing on, the audio sounds like, let's just be frank, it sounds like a straight bag of ass. It's horrible. Everything's garbled and really hard to understand. The microphones have been upgraded and it's waterproof without the housing. So the audio on it is supposed to be way, way better. It's got built-in stabilization. It's supposed to be just awesome. I'm really looking forward to getting one of those. If you don't have a GoPro, you should get one. And if you get a GoPro, make sure you get some kind of little handheld thing to hold it. That's probably number one. And number two, suction cup mount. You can stick it to anything, any smooth surface. Don't buy any of the leashes. They sell these leashes that are like 10 bucks that attach to the suction cup mount and then attach to whatever you're suction cupping it to, so that if for some reason, even though this is a really good suction cup, but if for some reason the suction cup were to come loose, the leash, make sure you don't lose your camera. Just look, you know what that is? Hold on, you can't probably see, hold on. A fishing leader. That's right. I looked at it online, it looked just like fishing leader, and I'm like, well crap, I've got fishing leader in my tackle bag outside. You just tether that on there, tether that to your GoPro suction cup mount, put the other end on whatever, like a lot of times when I put it on the windshield of my car, I put this around my windshield wiper. Don't buy those tethers for like $10, it's ridiculous. The other thing, which I know isn't technically camera gear, but I feel like it's an important thing to talk about anytime you're talking about making videos or filming stuff, is your computer, what you're editing on. I edit on a iMac, a 27-inch iMac. I edit using Final Cut Pro, and then I needed a little more real estate, so using one monitor and editing was driving me nuts, so I got the two other Dell monitors. I've done a video on those. They're back there. It's two 24-inch Dell 1080p monitors, and that's kind of my workstation. That's what I do my editing on. Lots of storage. You gotta have lots of storage. 1080p video and 4K video eats up storage. So I've got a 3 terabyte G technology hard drive. I have a 1 terabyte Samsung SSD, a solid state drive, that I run Final Cut Pro off of. Any current project I'm working on and all the footage for that and Final Cut Pro is on that 1 terabyte hard drive, just for speed issues. And then my 3 terabyte G technology one is kind of my archive, and then as that fills up, they roll off. So I don't know if that makes sense. It got a little confusing, I know. I'll maybe do a whole video on that one day, but that's the short and nasty. Nasty. Also, obviously, other bits and bobs. Ring light that I use when I film in the house for lighting, soft boxes for additional light stands, tripods, other stuff like that. Hopefully it's been informational. If you have any questions, obviously feel free to put them in the comments down below. I will be glad to answer anything that I can. I'm definitely not an expert, but I will answer to the best of my knowledge. All right, guys. Well, hope you liked it, and we'll see you next time.
I'm an elf. This is an elf. I'm an elf. This is an elf. Yay!
Charlotte, what do you got over your face, baby?
Nutella.
You've been eating some Nutella?
It's a house in a Christmas
This was our first Christmas.
It's a
You could see my face there, couldn't you?
2007.
I want to see it.